Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stephanie Hurst. I'm the senior manager here at the National Apartment Association. Thank you so much for joining us today for introducing 20 on the Rise. Before we get started, I just want to bring your attention to NAA's antitrust compliance and legal disclaimer. I won't read this for you here, but just take a minute to familiarize yourself with this language. There's a link here where you can read our statement. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Miss Betsy Kirkpatrick Cunningham, NAA's Next Gen Committee Chair for 2024. Betsy?
Hi, guys. We're so excited to have you here today. And I am so pleased and privileged to be the chair for the Next Gen Committee this year with my amazing vice chair. Hi, Stephanie, or co-chair Ronald. And Ronald, can you tell us who you are and where you're from?
Yeah, so I'm Ronald Harrington. I'm the vice chair of Next Gen for 2024, the incoming chair for 2025. I am in cold Muncie, Indiana right now, where I should be somewhere 75 and sunny, but that's a whole nother story for another day. And I am the training manager for 29th Street Communities.
Love it. And last but very much not least, our friend Ray Shine or Ray Sean Phillips. Tell us a little bit about yourself, sir.
Hello, I'm Ray Sean Phillips, affectionately known as Ray Shine with the Detroit Metropolitan Apartment Association. I am coming on 3 years into the industry, and I'm so excited to be here. I'm the membership and engagement coordinator for the association.
Love it. And I am the managing director of strategic programs for BG Multifamily, BGSF. And I am located in Charlotte, North Carolina, Region 4, turn up. Very excited to have all you guys here. So let's just get started because we had a lot to go through today. Can you move to the next slide? There we go. Okay, so a little bit about 20 in their 20s, just to kind of start this off. 20 in their 20s was launched as a way for young and upcoming rental housing professionals and to recognize them for their contributions to the industry. And while the program has been wildly successful in recognizing the selected individuals each year, it's fallen short on keeping them engaged with NA after apartmentalized. We have, obviously, there's some that are the exception to the rule every year that are absolutely out there killing it. But overarchingly, a lot of them get this wonderful recognition and then we don't really hear as much from them. Members of the Next Gen Committee believe that this lack of engagement might be due to the age or their particular roles and responsibilities that don't allow them to participate on that level. It may be a lack of commitment to the rental housing industry. They might end up leaving and going to a different industry. So with that, we're here to let you know that this is going to be the final year of 20 in their 20s. But we're super excited to announce our next program, which is 20 on the Rise. Pow, 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 pow. So this new program was built for professionals with less than 10 years of experience in the rental housing industry that are doing great things in their workplace. So taking age out of it entirely and just saying 10 years or less of experience in the industry. It's our hope that they're already involved with their local apartment associations, but if they aren't, they want to be. And we want to recognize those who are committed to this industry and have every intention of building their careers within rental housing. So this program is going to continue to offer free registration to Apartmentalize and recognition in Units Magazine. But we're also going to be making a few changes to the program that we hope are going to make it even more impactful than 20 in the 20s was. So let's hear more about that.
Perfect. Thanks, Betsy. As you said, we have taken out the age qualification. So, no more do you have to be in their 20s. I know Betsy and I have this conversation. We got tired of everyone saying, well, what about the 30s in their 30s or the 40s in their 40s, right? Totally understand that. So no more, you no longer have to be 20. You just have to be an NAA membership. So you have to be a member of the National Apartment Association. That is a requirement. You have to be in the industry 10 years or less. And then you have to be employed full-time in the rental housing industry and then have a demonstration of making a meaningful impact in the workplace. Guys, those are simple qualifications, don't you think, Rayshawn?
I definitely agree. I definitely agree.
So let's talk about these exciting enhancements that Betsy kind of teased for us a little bit.
Oh, definitely, definitely. So when I first was interested in 20 on the Rise, well, 20 in their 20s, I should say, I didn't think I was qualified, mainly because I was so new to the industry. And then one of the things that held me back big time was the fact that I didn't have a professional headshot. This was like I'm newer to the industry, didn't know we needed headshots to do your job. I just thought you do your work, you do good work, and you get recognized for that good work. But realize you don't need a professional headshot to get to be able to like participate in this program. I think that's one of the biggest for me, like realizing that we have opportunities and ways to get people engaged into this program and on a national level with these reduced qualifications. And not even say reduced qualifications. These qualifications still need to be met, but it's opening up the barrier because like you said, 20 under 20, 20 under 20 is just getting sunsetted, and I just turned 30. And again, I would have missed it again if it was still 20 in the 20s. So I'm excited for what's to come. I am so excited.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I'm loving these new program enhancements. So, I mean, we've got a more robust mentorship program, which is something that we've been wanting for a while. And then adding that leadership education component, which is we've had some training, but this is going to be even more robust than before. And then this is a biggie. The participants and the winners of this program are going to be on stage at Apartmentalize in 2025, which does not happen. This is huge. We need you guys to get really excited about that. That's super amazing.
Betsy, I just want to touch on the leadership education component because this is like brand new. We have never done this before, but we are actually going to be hiring a professional speaker to come join us for the in-person programming at Apartmentalize to kind of touch on leadership because, we're the next gen committee and we're going to bring the next gen leadership to
Yep.
NAA one way or another.
Whether you like it or not.
Yes. Well, Rayshawn, you touched on the headshots, which I totally remember stressing out about the same thing. So you said don't stress about it, but do you want to give some like pointers on, kind of what to do with the headshot if they don't have one already?
Oh, definitely, definitely. So first, dress professionally. You want to make sure that you're in a nice shirt, ladies, a nice blouse. Guys, if you want to wear a tie, absolutely. A nice little blazer, go for it. Outside of dressing professionally, you also would want to find the right backdrop and lighting. This is like goes to if you ever been to the DMA office or seen our office on our social media, we have a big green backdrop wall, something very similar. And you want good lighting so that when you take the picture, it's reflecting your best side. People say you have the good side reflecting your best side. And then set your camera up on a sturdy surface. So if you have a tripod, I won't say an easel, but if you had a way to stick it onto the wall and you can position yourself with that good lighting, shoulders up, that would be the great way to get your selfie headshot. You can do it for DIY at home, no extra cost to you. And use a self timer, of course. Once you put it up on that wall, the Octo Buddy, yes, Betsy, you've seen them. If you ever been to the gym and you see all those 8 little dots, people recording their content, use that to stick your phone on the wall, set your timer so that you can get the best photo. And also, I want you guys to be more like be laxed, like as you're positioning yourself, make sure you look comfortable. You don't want to look like hunched up, shoulders up to your ears. You want to feel comfortable because you got to take your photo from your shoulders up to your head. So definitely get those pictures in for your headshot because you don't want that to be a barrier from submitting your application this year. And of course, multiple test shots. It may take more than 3 chances to get it right.
And not for nothing, guys, you can go to JCPenney. They do headshots there. And it's like you can get a deal there for like $50 or something like that.
I never knew
It,
that.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I've done a JCPenney headshot in my world. Yeah, I ain't scared. So there are places that you can kind of low cost headshots or have a friend do it with you. If you know someone that's really good with pictures, you can have a friend do it, but you are going to need a photo for this.
And I
And it
think
will
it's
be on promotional material.
and I think it's amazing now that phones have the portrait mode. So it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely getting a lot easier. to get those headshots done.
Mhm.
And make sure that you use it, because this is going to be on the, if you're selected as one of the 20 on the rise, that headshot is what we use on all the promotional material. So
Yes.
you're going to see it on the website, you're going to see it, you know, on social media, you're going to see it at Apartmentalize on the screen, on the wall. So like, that's why, you know, keep taking the headshot until you are satisfied with it, because this is what people are going to see when they look at the class of 2025 for 20 on the rise.
And
Yes.
in the comments too, of course, if your local association is hosting an event where they are doing headshots, please take the opportunity, get those headshots in.
Hayden asked a great question. Does it need to be uniform with everyone white background? No, because we can't control how you're taking your headshot. The marketing people at NAA will make it look uniform on their end, so you don't need to worry about that.
Perfect. So Rashawn, let's tell them about where if they have questions, where's the contacts?
So you'll reach out to Betsy or Ronald. 2024 is Betsy's phasing out, and then Ronald's phasing in as the new chair, and also our liaison, Stephanie Hurst. The exact information on the screen. Take a screenshot, take a picture, write it down. It lasts longer, but you gotta reach out.
We
If you
have
have
this in a
any
couple other
questions,
spots
please.
too.
Yeah, this will come up again. Or you guys can find us on the social medias. We're all there. You know what I'm saying? You know, shoot me a DM. I'm unafraid. Or text me. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, I think it's time to walk through the application. Let's kind of
Yes.
go and like get them in. So on January 6th, when the applications open up, you will go to www.naah.org/20-on-the-rise. And this is where you're going to find it. You're going to be landed to a landing page. You can click also events and programs, 20 on the rise. On the 6th of January, a button will magically appear behind the scenes that says apply now. And that is what you're going to click. There'll be a blue button and it's going to take you into that. And I think it's important to kind of walk you guys through this process. So when you click on apply now, you will then be landed on this landing page, which is the application portal. You will use your NAA account information, because remember, we said you have to be a member of NAA to apply for this recognition. So that is the same email and password that you use to log into the NAA website. If you don't have an account, you can create one by clicking the create my account. And if you're like me and you forget your password all the time, you can click on forget my password and it will help you reset that. On the next screen, you will then enter your email and click reset my password button, and you will receive an email on how to reset your password. It is super easy.
Hey, Hayden asked, you can be an associate member of your local association. If you are a member of your local association, you are a member of NAA automatically. So you don't need to worry about that. As long as you're a member of a local association, you're automatically a member of NAA.
Yeah. And then, so if you have any issues logging in, please don't let that stop you. Please reach out to Stephanie Hurst. Here's her contact information again, or Client Solutions as well. Both of them are great resources to help you get logged in and get set up. So take a photo of that so you have it. So let's talk about the application. We're going to break it down for you. You guys on this call are getting the exclusive first look at the 20 on the rise applications. So when you log in, you're going to have some contact information. New this year, we are asking for your guys' personal email as well, because you know, in multifamily, we switch jobs and things like that. And we want to be able to contact you if you want, even if you're not at the same job. But not only that, it's going to be for making sure that we can stay engaged with you guys post winning in the years to follow. So that's going to be new there as well. You're going to have membership information. It's going to ask you to select your local association as well. So be prepared to have that information there. Then you're going to have demographic information. This is only for us to track on the back end. We do not take this into consideration when we are judging. We don't see the information. It's just for NAA to kind of track to see how we can diversify our pool. So you're going to, you know, your gender identity, your race, disabilities, your highest level of education. Again, this has no influence on whether or not you are selected for a 20 on the Rise award. All righty. So let's get into the meat and potatoes. We're going to start with the professional background. Have you had, remember, 10 years or less? That's the new qualification. That's a question. You're going to upload a current copy of your resume. Make sure it is current. And in the past, I have seen, they'll say their job is one thing, but it's not on their resume.
Yeah.
And then your professional biography. And this is where it starts to get tricky, guys, because your biography can only be 100 words or less. It will not let you type in anymore. So I know we have some amazing wordsmiths out there that are really good at making things sound great. You have to contain it to 100 words this year. And then the following questions have a 200-word max. Again, 200 words. So we want you to tell us about your pathway through multifamily. Again, where did you start and how did you get there? And then a little bit later, we are going to kind of tell you what the judges look for when they're judging these kinds of questions. But we just want you to have some exposure to what you'll be filling out. So how'd you start in multifamily, and how did you get to where you are today? What was the biggest challenge that you experienced in your career, and how did you overcome it? And how has your local, state, or national association helped you in your career? And if you have not been involved, that's okay. Let us know, how do you plan on getting involved? We really do encourage that you involved at the local level, but it is not mandatory. So again, if you are not involved, don't let that discourage you. Just let us know how you're going to get involved. Then there's a self-reflection piece. Go ahead, Betsy.
The question was, will this presentation be available to us after the webinar? Steph, is that?
Yes, it will be
Yes.
available. We'll have it on the webinars page, and I'll also include a link to watch the video on the 20 on the Rise page as well.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy. There's a self-reflection. How do you define success, right? We're asking, for leaders, what does success look like to you? It means many different things to many different people. There's an industry reflection. What is one thing you see affecting multifamily that is going to be the biggest impact on the industry? And how are you plan on being prepared for that upcoming change? And then lastly, the industry contribution. If you are selected and recognized as a leader on the rise, how will you contribute to the industry moving forward? So again, those questions, you have to contain your answers to 200 words. I know that's a big one, especially for someone like me who likes to talk.
I put on here, make sure Chat GPT is your friend. If you have something that you want to say, you can put it into Chat GPT and say, can condense this to 100 words or 200 words. And then you can kind of wordsmith that around. I definitely don't let it write it for you entirely, because that is not going to come across well, but you can have it help you with the 100 or 200 words thing. So
yeah, and the question was, if your state doesn't have a local or state affiliate, you're from Minnesota, maybe you want to, you can talk about how you're going to get involved at the national level, or maybe you have a takeaway, you're like, I really want to try to start something here, and you want to get involved that way. There are a lot of resources, and you can reach out to Betsy and herself, and we can connect you with people to kind of help maybe start that. In Stephanie at NAA, she also has a lot of resources as well to kind of help you there. It is 200 words per question. So 200 words for tell us about your pathway through multifamily, 200 words for the biggest challenge you've experienced, and so forth.
And guys, I also put a link in there for a PDF of this that's on the 20 on the Rise. So you can actually go and look at it now if you like, obviously when you get off this webinar. So you can look at it afterwards as well, and even start crafting your responses and replies now. So you can get a general idea of what that's going to look like.
Which, speaking of now, let's talk about the next piece, because this is a big one, guys. We are asking that you have a letter of recommendation. Okay. And new this year is you have to ask them and upload it with your application. So if you've in previous years applied for 20 in their 20s, you know that they used to get sent a link and had to fill it out and things like that. New this year is you are going to upload this with your application. So if you know that you're going to apply for this program right now, be thinking about who is going to write my letter of recommendation. Get to them immediately and say, hey, I need you to write a letter of recommendation for me. And this is what they need to, these are the 3 questions that they have to answer. How do they know the scholarship candidate? So how do they know you? What are the candidate's greatest strengths and weaknesses? And what would they like to highlight about you? So this is going to be from your industry advocate. So someone who works in multifamily, who's worked alongside you, get to them, ask them to write this up. Okay. Write this up for you because you're going to have to upload this to the application process this year. Betsy, anything on the letter recommendation that I've missed? I know you get asked a lot to have for people to write letters of recommendation for.
I would just say the sooner the better. If you know you're going to do it, then get it as soon as humanly possible, because giving some, and then I would recommend sending them a calendar invite for when, like, before it's due, so that you can actually have it back and put it in there. A question that's in here is, how many are suggested or required? Only
It
one
is
or
just
multiple?
one this year, and
Just
you're
one.
only going to be able to upload one.
Just the one, uno. So pick an impactful one. We all know someone who's really good at writing a letter. Go to that person.
And the sooner you get it, like if you go to one person and they write it and it's not, you don't think it represents you in the best light, like thank them and say, hey, thanks so much for writing that. I needed a little bit more. So do you mind tweaking it? Or you could also go to, I've been known to get a couple people to write it and pick the best one that I think is appropriate for what I'm looking to accomplish at that.
Mm-hmm.
New this
All right.
year too, on the next part, on part of the application process, you heard us tease that the mentorship is being beefed up. So you are going to have some questions about the mentor preferences in case you win, because we are going to be on a very tight timeline
Yeah.
with this program. So we are trying to speed up the process. So you want to, you know, check, these are all kind of check boxes for you can select one or multiple. What is the primary job title of a mentor you would for your mentor to hold? You know, so are you looking for someone who is the owner of a company? Are you looking for a vice president? So you can select what you are looking for so we can help tailor the mentors to your preferences. What area of business do you want them to be in? Are you looking for someone on site? Are you looking for a supplier? What is that? And I will say, keep in mind that this is someone who's going to help develop you. So if you are if you're a supplier and you're looking for someone on the operator side because you want to bounce ideas or you want to sell the product to them, that's probably not going to be the best type of mentor for you. We really want you to help grow and, you know, make connections. So what I always say is think about a job that you want, right? You know, so for me, if I'm looking for a mentor, I want to be a chief learning officer one day. So I'm going to try to find somebody in that realm or as close to that realm to kind of help mentor me and guide me along those processes.
Question was asked, is it better to have somebody who knows you really well or someone who's part of the local apartment association who may not work with you directly but knows you? I said ask them both and just pick the best one. I'm not going to be looking at people's titles or anything like that when I'm reviewing to see, like, hey, do I know this person? I want to know what they legitimately have to say about you. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, whatever you're comfortable with. I don't look at titles. I kind of like filter out names and positions and things like that and just read what they have to say about you.
I also want to mention too, and we're going to be covering this later on the webinar. We do have an affiliate specific nomination form. Um, if affiliate nominates someone, they can include a letter of recommendation. If your local association does nominate you and gives you a letter of recommendation, we will include that with your final application. So you would still get that letter of recommendation from your industry advocate, but if you got one from your local association as well, then you could have two.
Yep. Perfect. Thank you. And then we ask if you prefer a male or a female mentor, any particular race, age group, sexual anything like that. Because again, we want this to be comfortable for you, and making sure that it's beneficial for you as a participant of 20 on the Rise. And then any other preferences or information. And then if you know someone who you would like to suggest, maybe it's a colleague or someone that you want to serve as your mentor, there is a place for them for you to put their information, and then we will go in and reach out to them and see if they would be willing to consider that, which is, so this is new this year to this program.
Hannah said, how do we know who nominated us? Like if it's from the association, so we are aware if he'll be writing the letter of recommendation. I don't think like I nominated someone. I'm not going to be writing them a letter of recommendation unless they ask me to. I think the only time that's going to happen is if it comes from your association, which is, I think you would know. Am I wrong on that, Stephanie?
You may not know. You can reach out to me and I can let you know.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All righty, and then we can go ahead and so then you're going to we say this for last, but the photo request and disclaimer, you're going to upload that professional headshot. And I will tell you, I will speak for Betsy on this. If you have a question about your headshot and you want to send it to one of us, we will definitely provide you some feedback, right? We won't leave you hanging. I know, like, just in years past, there has been a lot of questions about the headshot and like what that looks like. So that's why we are definitely willing to be that resource for you. And then by clicking yes, you are agreeing to let us use that headshot in our promotional materials as well. You're going to sign and date it. And then that's the application, guys.
The question was asked, other than apartmentalize, are there other in-person meetings? Yes, but not that you are receiving free things for. So there's the Advocate Conference in March and then the Assembly of Delegates in November. You are absolutely able to come to those. The registration for those is always free. And so you're going to be paying for your travel and your hotel and your meals. But you're obviously welcome to attend any of those. And that's open to anybody across NAA.
Yeah, and there will also be virtual meetups. So
Yes.
after the class is selected, we will host a quick virtual meetup, like kind of like a meet and greet, get to know everybody. Your mentors will be on there. We'll be setting up some criteria for your mentors to, for touch points along the way. And then end of May, beginning of June, right before Apartmentalize, we'll do another virtual meetup on kind of what to expect at Apartmentalize. One thing to keep in mind for Apartmentalize is that the programming is going to take place on Tuesday afternoon versus we usually do it Wednesday morning. But so now it's going to be Tuesday afternoon. I believe the date is June 10th for that meeting, but someone can correct me. I could totally be way off, but it will be that Tuesday afternoon. If you don't know, Apartmentalize this year is in fabulous Las Vegas. So do keep that in mind with your travel. If you're coming from the East Coast and things like that. Stephanie, was I right about the date?
You were correct.
Perfect. She came off me, so I was like, so yeah, any other questions in the chat before we kind of break down the review process?
Yep.
Nope. Okay, let's go ahead and jump to the next slide.
So for the review process, Betsy and Ronald, what are you guys actually looking for? Because as someone like me, I didn't apply last year, but I am applying this year. What I should be looking to do to make sure you guys pick me.
1 second before we jump there, let me friggin' insight. Let's just kind of guide you through the process of how you get selected before we give you insights. Once you apply for the for 20 on the Rise, 20 on the Rise, you will then be filtered to the NAA task force. So there will be several people judging. A lot of it from the Next Gen committee will be judging it. A maximum of 20 applicants will be selected. 20% of what we look for is the quality of your overall written application. 25% is your career achievement, your involvement. 25% is demonstration of leadership. So make sure that you're highlighting that. Your reflection is 10%, your industry contribution is 10%, and then your letter of recommendation is 10% as well. So that's kind of how we're not doing math like that. The system does it, but that's kind of the way.
I'm not pulling out a calculator going through.
We work in multifamily for a reason. Some of us don't want to be math.
You did not dot that I. We're taking out 10 points.
Yeah, but that is kind of the weight of it. So, I will say, make sure that, you kind of know this as you're crafting your responses for that. Betsy, let's give us some insights.
All right. So, I think one of the biggest things is avoid canned responses. I mentioned earlier, do not use ChatGPT to write it. You can use it to help maybe edit, or take it down, a little bit, but don't use it to write it because it will come off as like super stale. And one of the biggest things I want to see is your personality. I want to see you coming through your application. There are a lot of people that will put in there and I'm like, these all look the same. It's basically the same application, but 3 different people or 4 different people put it in there because they're using a lot of canned responses, a lot of, that jargon that you hear in meetings. We're going to optimize and all that don't do that. So be yourself and avoid those canned responses.
And I will say, guys, like you have to think about it. So we judge 115 plus, right? So it comes a lot of times on the trend in the industry, right? There's always a common theme, right? One year it was like social media and everyone's talking about social media.
One
And
year it was AI.
And it's saying the same thing. So if you're going to use one of those topics, bring a unique perspective from it because that's going to really help you stand out.
Yep.
And then the other thing to really think about is we see this a lot when we're judging when you're looking back on something that you would change. The best answer probably isn't going to be, well, I wouldn't change anything because that got me to where I'm at today. Like there's always going to be something that you would, look at it a different. I've had a little bit more experience in this. So even though that's what you may think, like find a way to say it in a more elegant way that shows that you actually did reflect on that piece, right?
Mhm.
Because that's the thing you have to keep in mind. Like you're among a crowd now, and we're expecting big numbers this year. So you're going to have to find those unique ways to make yourself truly stand out.
And I'll say, as a supplier myself, a big pet peeve of mine, we want to make sure that, you're here for your journey. You're not here to sell your company. And though this may eventually help you as far as your visibility and everything of that nature, that should not be a primary reason for being there. And so if your whole application is just you talking about your product, you're out for me. Like that's the end of it. Because I know that once you show up, that's exactly what you're going to be doing the whole time is trying to sell your product. So, and I say this as a supplier. So hear me when I say this. It needs to be your like industry information and not your product information.
And I would
Sean
say
said,
from like an operator side too, like
yeah.
they're like when I'm reading about your leadership and I see I did this, and you're not talking about the people that you've built up.
Oh yeah, that's
To me,
huge.
I'm kind of like, so you're not really necessarily a leader because you're doing everything yourself, which is not a great leader. But I want to know, how did you build your teams? How did you get to where you are, and who do you want to think below you? Because we all, have those people who kind of help elevate me. Like a lot of times when I have to talk about people, I talk about Betsy, and how she's really kind of took me underneath her wing and helped me get to where I'm at with NAA and all of those things. I didn't do it by myself. It took a village to get there. So I want to make sure that you kind of highlight those people as well.
Yeah, I love that. And showing like your passion, like a lot of times I'll read something and it reads like this is what I'm supposed to say and not what I'm passionate about. And I want to hear your passion. Like there's something about this industry that's got to light you on fire. And what is that thing? And it will come across in how excited you are when you're putting that out there. So, let that passion show in your responses because that's only going to make you stand out from everyone else. I want the most passionate, excited individuals, the people that this is what they're going to do for the rest of their lives. I want them to be the ones that are representing us. Any concerns with highlighting our mentor peers? We did not have a team below us. No, I love that. But Ronald said it earlier, like we've never worked together, but he's put me down or talked about me and a couple of things that he's put out in the universe because I've been kind of a mentor or like kind of pulled him with me because he's my bro, right? So if you have somebody that has been helping you to get where you need, absolutely highlight them, highlight the people around you, co-workers. Because even if you didn't lead a team, you're part of a team, right? In some capacity. So that would be another way to do that as well.
And sometimes, guys, it's like when I've had to do the self-reflection, like, what would maybe I didn't have the best leader at the time. And what I would change is that, when I first stepped into a leadership role, I wouldn't have done some of the things that that leader at the time that was not the best leader for me. And here's what I would do to kind of like change that and make sure everyone feels included. So like there's ways to talk about it in a positive light. So
Yes.
yeah, if you don't have a team and you're not supporting a team, how have you built other people up? And it could be outside. Maybe you're part
Yeah.
of the association, like you're chairing or you're involved, you know, with your local association and you're bringing people together. That's showing being a leader.
Maybe you volunteer. It's something that's outside of the industry entirely, but it supports your ability to show your leadership capabilities, and what you could potentially bring. Even if you haven't started volunteering in this industry yet, it can support your ability to do that. So, all
And
right.
I did notice that someone did say that once the application opens, do we have to finish in one setting or will it
Yep.
stay for us and come back? You can, if you're not following chat, you can save it and come back.
Yep.
But once the deadline happens, and we're going to tell you about the deadlines here in just a little bit, you will not be able to make any changes past that.
Yep. All right.
Any other questions before we give you some tips and tricks?
And I hope y'all took away the
Okay.
biggest one. More passion, more energy, passion, more
More footwork.
okay, you guys, more passion, more energy.
Love it. All right, let's give them some tips, right, Sean?
Absolutely. So the first one I'm gonna say, don't wait until the last minute to submit your applications because we
Yeah.
are not doing any extensions. I put in the chat, I'm taking notes as we're on this call because I'm submitting my application as soon as it's available because I want to have everything in order.
Yeah, perfect. And then the second one I would say is verify your membership status
Mhm.
and confirm you meet the qualification requirements. If you have questions about your membership status, feel free to reach out to the NAA. They can tell you if your company or you are a part of that and what association you belong to. This is just a big one. In the past, guys, we've had some really great people that we've had to say, unfortunately, you aren't a member of NAA, so we can't select you. And we don't like to tell people no. So like, please, please, please verify that you are a member in good standing.
Awesome, awesome. For me, the next one I'm gonna say is reach out to your industry advocate. Know who you're getting your letter of recommendations from. For me, I know I'm reaching out to people who work with me in the association space to do my letter of recommendations because we've been doing this shoulder to shoulder all year. So reach out to someone who's your industry advocate, someone who can vouch for you and talk about your work ethic as to what you will be willing to provide to this new program.
Yes. And I'm going to say familiarize yourself with the application and the criteria. You have already started that by being on this call, but really like when you get off this call, go over to the website, look it up, look and see, hey, let me print this out and really start thinking about that.
Tabitha said, who can we verify that with? You can reach out to Stephanie, and she can look you up. Believe she would be the one that would be able to do that. But if you're a member locally, if your community or your company is a member locally, you're a member. But that's definitely a great question. So just reach out to Stephanie.
The next one I will say is tailor your application to highlight very specific achievements. You want to make sure that they're impactful and that they highlight who you are and what your trajectory is in your leadership. So make sure you definitely are tailoring your application to make sure that you're only posting or sharing the things that one that you're proud of, but then two that shows that you're looking for more.
And then what I'm going to say is number 6 is I want you to create a Word doc or notes document that you can easily edit to craft your responses. So I do this a lot when I'm having to submit things, like if I'm submitting a session for something, I create everything in a Word document first with all those questions so I can type it out, so I can edit it. And then once I have that document finalized, then I go and I paste it into the system. That way I don't have to worry about where was I at in the process, right? Did I already fix that question? Did I do things like that? It just makes it so much easier for you, especially because you're going to go through several revisions throughout the process.
And I'm going to say for number 7, be clear and concise. Straight to the point. Like Betsy said, We know he has some word flowers. Try to trim them. You wanted to make it,
Keep that garden manicured. You know what
yeah,
I'm
you know, we want to see how beautiful it is, but do it in a bouquet, not in a huge arrangement.
That's, I'm gonna say proofread. This is like, it's hard for me because when I write something, my brain reads what I thought I wrote, and sometimes that's not the case. So like proofread, have someone else proofread it for you if you need to. Because you know, you don't want to submit it, because part of that is that we look for the overall written application, right? So we do look at those kinds of things when we are like judging it. So that's your best friend, is to proofread, have someone else proofread it for you.
And to piggyback, literally get feedback from your colleagues. Make sure someone's reading over your application before you get it submitted. You want to make sure you are catching your grammatical errors. Make sure you are crossing your T's and dotting your I's. Have someone make sure they look it over, a fresh set of eyes. It never hurts.
Yeah. And then this is the big one. Take a deep breath and hit submit. You know, Rashawn, you brought up a good point where you were hesitant last year. The good news about 20 on the Rise is that it cost you no monetary amount to apply. You know, sometimes for Excel awards or other types of awards, there is a monetary, you have to pay something to apply. For 20 on the Rise, there is no cost to you. So if you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm deserving, or you have, sometimes I have imposter syndrome. And I'm like, I don't know that I'm in it, like I shouldn't do it. Like, guess what? It's nothing. Just, it's your time to complete it. Take a deep breath, complete it, and then hit submit, and just let the cards fall where they are, right? The good news is once you hit submit, it's out of your hands. But you still get noticed, right? We may not be able to select you, but I know, like, I've seen some great people come through that I'm like, oh, you know, they weren't quite there, like, but maybe I want to mentor them. So I'm going to reach out to them and say, like, you know, hey, you were so close, or, you know, I would love to work with you and like get to know you. That's the best case scenario that can happen if you don't get selected, right? So take a risk on yourself, like a bet on yourself, get over the imposter syndrome. Like, you are nominated, you know what you're capable of, and this is your time to shine.
Love it. And when you said so it's out of your hands, that reminded me of like Monsters Inc. at the end, where they're like, put that thing back where it came from. So help me. It's out
Yeah,
of our hands.
out of our
All right,
hands.
guys,
Yeah.
for those of you that have never been on a webinar with me, welcome. This is what happens.
Or
I
any
apologize.
or any committee meeting, anything that Betsy and I do, she's always singing. And if she doesn't, I'm like, she's gonna have to sing. It's not a Betsy-led call or meeting until she has sang. So let's talk. I told you I was going to tell you about some timelines, right? So as of this morning, I'm going to look at Betsy's face when I say this. We have had 185 nominations come through,
Guys, ooh.
and we have to judge every single one of the applications that come through, which we are very proud to do. So don't let that number scare you. We just wanted you to know there is still time to nominate. So if you're
Absolutely.
on this call and you're like, you know, I need to nominate, December 31st is your deadline. Guess what? You can self-nominate as well. So, you know, you can self-nominate yourself, you can nominate colleagues. If you're on this call because you just wanted to learn more about the program, maybe you're not, you know, within that 10 years of industry or less, but you know someone who is, go and nominate them. And let me tell you why you want to nominate people. We have decided, you are the first to know this on this call, that if you're nominated, you are going to get early access to the application. So on Thursday, January 2nd, you will get an email from Stephanie that is saying, here's how you gain access to the system. So you have 4 whole days to make sure you can log in, make sure you can start the application, all of that, before anyone who is not nominated has access to it. So that is
It's like Black Friday, guys. I expect
yes,
y'all to be waiting in.
yes. Happy New Year to you. This is our gift
New
to
year, new
everyone on this
application.
call who has been nominated. So if you don't think you're nominated and you don't know if you're nominated, guess what? It doesn't hurt to nominate yourself again,
Sure doesn't.
and you know for sure.
I
And
agree with that.
And for those nominations, you could do it using this QR code. So if you're on your phone, try to take a screenshot to come back to this later, but the links are available on the NAA website. Go to naahq.org. Is it .org /20 hyphen on the hyphen the hyphen rise, and you can find all this information there as well.
Or the Googles, the Googles be letting you know. All you got to do is
Yeah.
just type in 20 on the
Shout
rise
out
and
to them
take you
SEOs.
right there. Just the
Or
Google.
you could follow Betsy, Rayshawn, and myself on LinkedIn, because I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. We post a lot about this. We're letting the world know. So like, if you're like, I need a great LinkedIn follow, one of the three, like, to kind of help guide you, go find us. We will also be posting about it as well.
Yes, yes.
Amongst other fun information, because we are NAA social media ambassadors.
Yeah. Rayshawn, tell me about these important dates.
So these dates are important because you don't want to miss these deadlines. So like Ronald said, December 31st, the deadlines for nominations end. If you were nominated, you get the application January 2nd, 2025. And then the official application opens. This opens to all January 6th. Deadline, it closes February 14th, which is why we stated you don't want to delay your application getting it started, because once the 14th ends, and I believe is it 11:59 on the 14th?
11:59 Eastern time, guys,
Yep,
not your local
on
time zone. 11
East Coast, Beast Coast. And it's then because we love to have your application.
Yeah.
And if you
Sorry,
don't
guys.
get it in, there's no extensions. So
Yeah.
you want to make sure you get started early as you guys are getting this first exposure today. Start taking notes. Like I've been taking notes. I literally have paper, like taking notes, because when I start my application, I want to make sure that I'm not scrambling at the deadline. So I don't want you guys scrambling either.
Mm-hmm.
Betsy, who do they contact if they have questions?
Ghostbusters. No, I'm joking.
Dun, 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 dun.
If it's for NAA stuff, like you want to find out what affiliate, like any of that kind of stuff, you can reach out to Stephanie. She can give you all of that information. That's her details there. Then you can, if you have general questions, you can reach out to myself or Ronald or Stephanie. We would love to be able to help you. If you want us to look at your headshot, shoot it on over. Like I have no beef with that. I don't necessarily, I will say this, like, I don't think that either one of us are probably the best people to be looking at your application itself before you
Yeah.
put it in, because we can't be, we're going to be judges. So we can't be doing that. But as far as headshots and stuff, we're there for you. And if you have any questions or anything like that, we're definitely there for that as well.
The other thing too, guys, that a lot of people don't know about is if you go look at the, former 20 in their 20s, some of their written application is underneath their information. So like some of the questions are similar. So if you want to like kind of see what other people have said in the past to kind of help gauge you, that's another resource for you to go look at. Like, if you want to see what do they talk about, I know the trending question is on there, right? So like go look and see what have other people said in the past, and that's going to kind of be your help to help guide you to, the right direction, because obviously they won.
I love the 20 in their 20s on the call.
Yes, let's open up the floor to, I love that you guys have been putting in questions in the chat, but if there has been any other questions that we haven't answered or the floor is yours.
So Hayden said, my letter provider asked if they should also send the letter directly to NAA or either of you outside of the application. No, it does need to be uploaded with your application only, because otherwise it's just going to be out in the void. So it won't do any good in any other capacity.
Yeah.
And then Evelyn said, remind me again, who do I reach out to for information on maybe helping start a state local affiliate? Oh, Stephanie would be a good one for that.
Yeah.
Where are you located, Evelyn?
He's in the great state of Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota. Okay. So let me tell you the tea on Minnesota.
That's where I was born. I was
They
born in
have
Minnesota.
associations there. They're just not affiliated with NAA. They disaffiliated years and years and years and years and years ago. But if you use the NAA lease, then you're a member. You would just be a member in a different way, and Stephanie can help you with that. Yeah. The tea. All right. What other questions do we have? Side note, I don't know if you know, but Ronald currently is in a Ronald sandwich with cheek bicep bread, because, or at least the way I'm seeing it, because Rayshawn and I are on the other side. We both have our, what I like to call cheek biceps, guys. These are not big cheeks. They're muscle. We have muscle on our face.
Literally.
So feel free to steal and use that as much as you would like. What other questions? I would love, while we're on, I'd love to hear any other questions that you guys have.
And also, anyone from the past 20 on the 20s program, any advice you would give while this is a different program, where you went through it, how any feedback you want to share with
Drop that in the chat.
folks? Yeah.
And while it's dropped, I just want to remember to highlight 10 years or less in the industry as the new qualifications. You have to be a member of NAA. If you're a member of your local association, you automatically are a member. We will not be extending the deadline past February 14th. And this year, if you win, you're going to get to be on stage in front of everyone at Apartmentalize in Las Vegas. You're going to have access to a mentor, which is brand new, like a development program. And you're going to have a paid speaker come in and talk about leadership.
Tim, where are you located? The question that Tim put in here is the deadline to become an NA member the same deadline as application February 14th?
Y'all got
I would say yes. And Tampa has a great association. They have a really fantastic association. And if you want to reach out to Stephanie, we can get you in touch with your local association executive. They're fantastic down there. They're one of the best, actually. Florida has a really strong association network.
Yes,
And if Tim, you're a supplier, I believe. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to me directly because I'm a member and on the at-large committee for the supplier council for NAA. So I'd love to be able to give you any help there if you have any questions. I don't.
Stephanie,
Can you go
mind
back to
going
what the one that has our address?
slide 27? One more, the slide of who to contact.
There we go. So feel free to reach out. Would love to connect you with anyone. I could probably actually connect you just to help Stephanie out there because I know that the answer to that one. So what other questions do you guys have? And if not, then I think we're ready to go. And again, remember, you guys can reach out to us at any point. We'd love to be able to answer questions, point you in the right direction. And listen, I want to say this. This is going to be a big year. I can feel it. I can feel it coming on the edge. So it's going to be a big one. And so one of the things that I'm really excited for those of you that are going to be part of this cohort that win this is going to be even that much more of a prestigious award because of the amount of people and the amount of time and effort that people are putting into this. So I'm very, very excited to see what comes out of this one. It's going to be a great group. I feel it already in my bones.
Stephanie, I should ask you, did we miss anything?
I don't think so. I mean, I know Rashawn mentioned it, but no extensions. We are going to be in a very tight timeline. So start working on it now. As soon as you get access to the portal, start putting your answers in. You can save and come back to it later if you're not ready to submit. But yeah, if you have questions as you're going through the process, contact us. We're here to help.
Awesome. Thanks everybody for being here today and for all like y'all were very, very active and we love that. And we appreciate you. Feel free to reach out to any of us, connect with us on LinkedIn. And thank you so much for being here today. And thank you to Rashawn and Ronald for all of your knowledge and help. Yes, exactly. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a
Happy
good one.
holidays.